Hello and welcome to the final episode of Ethnobotany. In this episode we'll cover the Ethnobotany of Lithuania. Adam Fisher was a Polish folklorist and ethnographer who dwelt in Lithuania for a time, and wrote the book called The Lexicon of Slavic Beliefs and Customs to discuss the different plants used for folkloric, household, and medicinal purposes used by the Lithuanian people. Using this book as a roadmap, Dr. Monika Kuiska intends to further elucidate these practices in Lithuanian society, and here are the results. It was found that the plants of highest value were Calendula officinalis, Cyanus segetum, Heloxyrium iranium, and Betella species, alongside Prunella vulgaris and Nuphar lutea, and various Lilius species. This number was found to be far smaller than what was found in other societies closely related to Lithuania, such as the Ukraine, who had larger amounts of herbs of great importance. Now onto the medical plants of Lithuania. Plants were employed to treat 12 different types of general illnesses. 40 plant treatments were made to treat respiratory disorders. 33 medicines were used to treat digestive disorders. 31 folk medicines were used to treat skin problems, and 22 were used to treat different folk illnesses, which were further divided into evil eye, fright, rosa, and poderweni. Rosa is a skin illness, and poderweni is a muscular problem that comes from lifting heavy weights, and poderweni, which is a folk digestive disorder. But the most common use for herbal medicine was a treatment of coughs, wounds, boils, chest pain, stomachache, and headache. For its purpose, the top 3 medicine plants used by the Lithuanians were Cyanus segetum, Nuphar lutea, and Artemisia absifum. In the Belarus, Polish, and Lithuanian landscape, Nuphar lutea is the most common plant within that area, with its rhizomes being used heavily for folk treatments, with the seeds being eaten by the locals as a food source. There's also another home remedy for jaundice, which included a mixture of Tannicum vulgare and carrot. A folk medicine for various infections was Trophalum magis flowers mixed with celery seeds and milk. A mixture of geranium, milk, and honey were combined to treat chest problems. On the border between Lithuania and Belarus, absinthe plants and yarrow plants were commonly used. Now onto food plants, which is to say, uncommon wild or cultivated crops used for food sources. One folkloric food in Lithuania is the baking of bread on sweet flag. Another wild food is Glycera frutican, whose seeds were collected to make gruel. Cherry leaves were mixed into the pickling mix of pickling juice for pickled cucumbers. Cabbage was cooked with a mix of beet and stinging nettle. Oset, which consists of Cicerum and Carda species, is often used as a substitute for sorrel. A currently unknown species of plant called legacy was fermented alongside milk as a famine food in times gone by. During wartime, Cardas, Cirsium, an unknown species called Paparot, Perticaria bistota, and lamb's quarters, alongside common heather, were used to make food, with their seeds ground up to be mixed into flour to bulk up bread. And during a pinch, pieces of birch wood would also be eaten. As for herbal teas, mint, lime flower, which would be tilia, self-heal, red clover, and turnip leaves would all be used for making herbal teas. The dried form of turnip leaves would be used to make a drink called koshadek, which is drank for ceremonial purposes. During Christmas, barley is used to make gruel, poppies are used to make a special dish called kutia, and oats are used during fasting periods. Self-heal is often mixed with Labrador tea to adulterate low-alcohol beer as a stimulant. Now onto household plants. These are used for dyeing, husbandry of animals, insect repellents, and shoemaking and hunting, and some for agricultural knowledge. Traditional dyes are often made from a local form of blueberry when mixed with mud. Alder bark or cones are mixed with birch leaves to make yellow. An unknown plant called miscan is used to make black dye. These dyes were used even during the industrial era by people within the Poland, Lithuania, and Belarus area. Extracts of Ledum pasteur is used to prevent insects from entering the granary where cereals are. Aspen bark was mixed with rye flour and used as a household disinfectant and a means of reducing parasite numbers. To this day, Ledum pasteur is still used in northeast Poland to repel insects from granaries. Fenugreek likewise has been used to attract game animals for hunting purposes, the most common one being wild boar. And finally, peas are said to be grown best if planted under a full moon. Next we'll cover some smaller but still very important topics. We'll cover ritual plants, veterinary plants, and historical folkloric plants grown in home gardens. On to the next part. Now on to rituals. Most rituals in ancient Lithuania use extensive amounts of aspen, nettle, and juniper. This was done to ward off evil spirits and witches. Witches were said to be very active during Midsummer Night. In other areas of the general region of Belarus, Lithuania, and Poland, more obscure evil warding plants were used, such as burdock, mugwort, and wormwood, and lime tree, which would be Tilia species. Now on to veterinary medicine. In folklore, 11 different species of herb were used in veterinary medicine. These included yarrow, Artica minus, Calendula officialis, Inula helum, oregano, and various synapsis species. One folk remedy for a cat that would not moo is a mixture of 2 eggs, a live frog, and ink. Sorrel was used in ancient times to treat scrofula, a disease that affects horses. Now on to plants cultivated in home gardens. The 18 most popular ornamental species throughout Lithuania, throughout much of its history, include peonies, marigolds, mallows, garden nasturtium, phlox, panicled aster, and sneezewort. Agave and dwarf everlast were also used extensively as indoor plants, and gourds were planted to be harvested for decoration purposes. Rue, mint, and poppy were also used both for medicinal purposes and ornamental purposes. Severnwood and escalpine were likewise used for that purpose. This culture began in the 18th and 19th centuries. More recent studies, however, have found that dwarf everlast is not a potted plant, and is in fact native to Lithuania and Belarus, and can be easily found in both the wild and in gardens. And so ends the Ethnobotany series. In the next series, you'll be doing what I'll call the science series. In this series, I'll make videos talking mostly about various concepts found in agriculture or science. I'll take a broad, complex concept like, say, how does a scientific method work, or what is a land race, and make it easy to understand and put into a 5 to 10 minute video. So thank you for watching, have a good one. Thank you for watching this video. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to me on BitChute for a greater variety of content, 4 videos a week. And thank you to all my subscribers on both platforms. I appreciate it.